Okay, welcome back, guys. 45 News Utah West States Media, WSM 45, and others. So, running out of time. Sorry, I did two other videos prior to this. Yeah, it just didn't work out. So, I'm down to about 20 minutes maximum I can do in this video because I do have a day job, a night job. So, looks like Joe Lee sent you a friend request. I know that. Anyway, so let's get into um, the Build Back Better bill and the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. So while everybody's swaying the symphony of destruction, with the Kyle Rittenhouse, thank goodness he's not guilty in a world that's stacked against individuals, individual protection of yourself or your property. And this tension that they've created over the past 2 years, which I can't get into why, but my personal opinion is there's been a lot of diversionary tactics ran to cram down, to cram all these bills down our throats with trillions and trillions of dollars. Trillions! I mean, we're talking more money than anybody can really fathom except for them. Has been shoved down our throats. And once they got control of everything, they knew dang well they could continue to pass these bills, steal all the money, Heroes Acts, all this other garbage they did. But the world's been in chaos. America's been in chaos since Rodney King. Then they've been waiting for this type of stuff to happen. You had the Rodney King deal back in the day. Everything what California was crushed. They had riots. They had, all this stuff. So then we get into the George Floyd economic powerhouse move by the kleptocrats and massive funding of civil unrest. Now, everybody needs to sit back and say, why did this all happen? It's all about the money. It's all about foreign invention. It's all about the investors. It's all about people investing, individuals and groups investing to cause civil unrest. And then we get more money stole through these bills they pass to take more money from all of us and the future of our grandchildren in the tone of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Janet Yellen, the Federal Reserve chairperson, she had $1 trillion printed out while we were all swaying to the symphony of the Brian Laundrie and Petito scandal, world news that just captivated the nation. Why this all went on. She was just printing money out, buying up unsecured mortgages or buying up federal bonds. This was $1 trillion, by the way, they spent of your future dollars. That's debt. That's debt. They bought this stuff up. Mortgage liabilities. They were buying up stuff. They're hedging themselves up. You guys, you got to think about that. They've been hedging themselves up while we were dancing to the Britney Spears, the Laundrie Petito, all this stuff has been keeping the public's attention caught up in something else. Alec Baldwin handed a loaded gun, shoot somebody. All this stuff has been just making you sway the symphony of destruction. It's like poo, 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 poo. The nation's captivated. Oh, wait. Kyle Rittenhouse being not guilty is just like saying, if you don't like the weather, wait. It'll change. It's just fact. It's going to happen. Rittenhouse was not guilty of what they said he did. They knew it. The prosecutor threw the entire thing under the bus. It was a complete crap show. And it's on purpose. Do you really think that they're going to get the $1.7 trillion Build Back Better bill through while people are actually paying attention? Well, apparently the media can only cover so much because they got to keep this thing rolling so hard it's in your face every day, which that does not affect the price of fuel. That does not affect the price of goods. That does not make a house that was worth $120,000 when you can make a living wage and qualify for a house now $400,000. That was before. This stuff doesn't affect the trillions that they've been printing out behind our backs. See how that works? Diversionary tactic. Do you think the American people, if they knew on CNN, came out and said, Janet Yellen printed off $1 trillion to buy back bonds, stocks of your tax money to share up their buddies? People would be like, what, another trillion on top of the other trillions you've taken already for the COVID thingy? Where did that all go? Well, it's gone now. It doesn't exist. She already spent it. It's already gone. They already bought up all the stuff to make themselves look better. But that's $1 trillion. That's driving the fiat currency down. On top of all the other bills they pass, it's driving the fiat currency down. On top of the child credit, $250 a month. That's driving the currency down. They take everything that you make. Doesn't matter what we get. Doesn't matter if our wages get increased. Doesn't matter if they pass out social spending programs to help impoverished families with children. They take the money anyway. Because in the end, it's their money. It's your money. It's your grandchildren's money. The working class that is not a part of their game or a part of their society at all. It's your money, but it's theirs. They claim it. They want it all. They will not stop till they get as much as they want, till they enrich themselves beyond enrichment in the largest theft in human history is happening. But we swayed us to Kyle Rittenhouse. We all knew he was not guilty. The people that are getting arrested are felons and blah, 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 blah. These are the worst of the worst out there causing problems. Every time something happens, it's the worst is actually doing. These people out there protesting are not saints that decided to just take it upon themselves to stand out there and to cause issues and to threaten and to make it seem like they're going to fight if they get a guilty verdict. You're all in a script written by them. It's worth trillions of dollars. Everybody's making money off of this entire scam. They have actors in every direction. If I get kicked for this, oh well. But the reality is, we are all in a game that they have created and that you pay for. They are not all government. All the society they get into, because they start out as a person that gets a little bit of the society, and once they get up into that government society, they are not you. That's why nothing ever gets done. It's a club, and you're not invited. It's like the rich golf club. All the club members get to go to it, but you just can't show up because you're not a member. All government, state, federal, it's all the same. They're all in it together. And it's all about the money. It's about keeping you dancing to the symphony of destruction. Why they steal all the money. $1.7 trillion, guys. It's unfathomable. This is 1 trillion Janet Yellen already printed off. Build Back Better, Heroes Act, all theft. Every dollar they give anybody, they steal it in the end. It goes right back to them because they cause supply chain crunches, and all that does is increase their profits. We got 1 million ships outside California. Can't get back in there because they got this restriction to get in there with your trucks and this restriction on the age of the truck, and this truck can't haul this. There's nobody to unload the cargo containers. Meanwhile, the investors in commodities have made more money than they've ever made in the history of everything. Why? Because they own the game. There is nobody calling them out, because as soon as anybody says anything, poof, headlines. Something huge is happening. Do you see? You see what they're doing? And there's nothing we can do about it. There isn't. We can't stop it. We can't fix it. We can't make it better. Because they own the game and it's rigged. It's all rigged. So if you're playing into the part as far as the left goes, you need to take a big step back and realize what happened back in the day with the American Indian movement. Who are they fighting? Who are they standing up against? The man, the government. They knew the difference between the reality of freedom and the illusion of freedom. That was the American Indian movement. And now I see, people standing up for the government. that are in that movement that's supposed to be against the government and their corruption. I mean, they flipped everything completely around. So they've used the left that's supposed to be anti-government, that's supposed to be going against the government to further their agenda. They are the soldiers for the thieves. Remember this, there is no difference between any of them at the top. All the difference is what lobbyist they're answering to. And usually it's Big Pharma or other huge industrial complex investors that are making bazillions of dollars. By lobbying, the representative is supposed to be doing the will of the people. Okay, so Democrats, wake up. Democrats, wake up. Double and triple taxation on tobacco products, alcohol, and other products, including fuel, has led to what we're at today. We didn't allow the British to do that to us with the tea. We threw the Boston Tea Party. We will not have double, triple taxation without representation. Well, it's about the double and triple taxation, not as much about the representation, because the representatives are in it with them. Raising the price of tobacco doesn't stop people from smoking tobacco. It's a free country. Once you allow the kleptocrats to get that type of hold on you, you are answering to the British crown. And we as Americans, which would be the left and the right, should be standing up and saying, no more taxes. You're going to reduce these taxes. Infrastructure bill, let's get into that. So everybody's excited the infrastructure bill passed. Both sides of the aisle. Oh, you're on this side of the aisle. I'm on this side of the aisle. Here's all my lobbyists. What about your lobby? Oh, I got that. What do I pay fuel taxes for? What do I pay road taxes for? What does a guy that has a company that has a commercial vehicle pay all his taxes for? The crumbling bridges. The crumbling bridges. You're telling me that the bazillion dollars they make off taxing everything isn't enough. So we have to rely on $1 trillion in infrastructure bill. It's the best thing that ever happened to us. Where's all the other money, morons? Because, you're making $1 bazillion off taxes. I'm taxed every time I turn around. Tax. Where did it all go? Well, we got to do this other stuff. No, see, there's nobody checking where, no accountability. If somebody wants to be a rioter, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight and I'm going to burn some stuff down. Why don't you start a company or a nonprofit organization that actually goes out and checks and finds out where all this money's going? And then puts it before the people so they look at that and say, what? Because if you had an independent investigation and there was 5,000 independent organizations set up by rioters and angry people mad about this social injustice, everybody can look at that and say, well, that's why we're paying 30% of our wages in every tax we turn around, because they're frivolously squandering it all. It's going in every direction. But nobody does that. They'd rather cause social strife. They'd rather cause social anxiety. They want people to fight over a bathroom because that's what they do. Everything they do is orchestrated. It is not by chance. It is all by design. Nobody gets that. Well, look what Biden did today. Look what this... You really think that these guys that are making trillions of dollars that can steal money from our great-grandchildren haven't even made yet in debt can do all that and they just do it by accident? No. Reality is stranger than fiction. This is all a Swain's Symphony of Destruction. They are lying to us, and it's all because they've been stealing all the money. They're still going to continue to steal. Wait till the $1.7 trillion Build Back Better plan comes. Think we're in trouble now. That's coming. But we got to worry because, Rittenhouse is found not guilty. Not guilty. Yeah, okay. Well, they should have been not guilty in the beginning. They play both sides of the fence. It's all them together. It's all them together. The left, you need to wake up. The extreme right, you need to wake up. This is all a scam. Everything's a scam. So let's get into this mass exodus out of the cities and the global warming and the destruction of the environment. They are emptying out the cities through draconian policies by dictators. Just people are leaving in droves out of the cities. Who's replacing them? Is that in the news? So California lost this many people in the past 90 days. They moved out of the state because of the policies. They didn't like being here anymore. Where did they go? Well, they just flooded the West, caused environmental problems. Every person, housing problems, inflationary problems. They caused just everything. And rural America is getting completely pummeled by mass exodus, migration out of the cities. Who is filling the cities back up? Do you really think that those Silicon Valley houses or these $1 million homes are just sitting there empty? $2 billion homes just empty? No, they're being filled. Well, who's filling it? Is anybody in the news talking about this? No. The border's wide open. The H-1B visas. Who is coming in? That's the big question. But everybody's too fixated on, we got to go green. We got to have electric power. We got to have this. Every time you build a subdivision, you destroy that area forever. And also the environment suffers. Everybody, all the deer, the wildlife, the elk, the ants, the birds, the trees, whatever. All of it suffers when people leave metropolitan areas into rural areas. And the rural population really gets hit because they can't compete with the wages. They can't compete with the wealth that's made in the big cities. The reason why we live in smaller cities and rural America is because we want this type of life 12 months a year. We make less money because we want this type of life. But when you live in a city and you have the educational ability and all that stuff, people make more money there. That's why people move to Silicon Valley. But now those places are emptying out. Who's filling the shoes? Who's taking part in that? Everybody's like, well, look, they're all moving to Texas. California isn't suffering economically. It's like the 5th largest economy in the world and it's not going to suffer at all. Doesn't matter who really moves out of there. They just want these people to leave so they can get their land deals in the West that they've been gobbling up since 2008. They can make their horrendous amount of profits off minimal investments for their real estate investors. Conglomerations, guys. It's crashed the economy. The best way to understand what's happening, the game they're playing with all of us since 2008. They pumped up everything, huge bubble, made $1 bazillion off all these mortgages, subprime mortgages. They crashed it. They went out and bought up foreclosures. They bought up land. They invest in land everywhere. And then they just do this. When they get a chance, they bump it back up just like in Bitcoin. And then they make their $1 bazillion. And the environment suffers. And they really actually do environmental damage by moving mass populations into rural parts of the country. That's actual environmental destruction. That's cars, that's houses, that's water, that's people that cause that. Areas that were once teeming wildlife, now full of people. Mass property buyoffs, like what they did in Sittler Land. South side of Mole's bought off, 2,000 acres, gone. Deer habitat, bird, everything. We got to save the nature, right? We got to save the wild creatures, right? They just sold off Fremont Wash, north between Beaver and Cedar. We got to save the natures. What kind of subdivision is going to be put there? What kind of traffic? What kind of environmental issues are going to happen there? How many deer and elk are going to die because of that purchase? How many, the bugs, the rats, the trees, what, Former Sittler land sold off the future of our children's land, by the way, sold off for fast profits for this generation only. That's what Sittler does. So anyway, okay. On to the next. Rittenhouse. CNN sucks. It's a horrible communist news network. Got to get through this fast because I got to be working a little bit. Trump's fury grows as DeSantis rises within GOP. What? That's bull. Yeah, this is dumb. The tide may be turning on Trump. No, it's not. Trump will 100% have another shot at destroying democracy. Thanks, CNN. Because you're not destroying it now. You're not withholding stuff, and you're not dancing the narrative for everybody to just get completely drunk on stupidity while you steal all the money. Wonder if you're connected to the these massive money-making people. Breaking CDC vaccine advisory. Yeah. Votes to recommend COVID-19 booster for all adults. Can't get into COVID. Just can't even touch it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. This is CNN's headlines, by the way. I'm sorry, the white power movement's probably like all 100 of them from what? Alabama. Here we go. White power story. Some in the white power movement are turning on each other with spectacular bitterness in court. White power movement, really? Because it's everywhere. I got a fear, the Klan. I'm a quarter Native American. Oh no, white power. Them white powerist guys are out there just burning down stuff and taking places apart, and they're just going to destroy the world with white powers. CNN, Trump, white power. There is absolutely nothing in this propagandist corporation that the public should digest. This is fake news. It's completely fake news. Defense attorney in the Arbery murder trial sought plea deal for one defendant and was declined. Who cares? Just saying. I mean, if you're in that, that's some real interesting. You watch the news to see what's actually happening in the world. It's going to affect you. Okay, let's see. Shall we get into this? It's on other news networks that are not a part of this garbage propaganda spew. Okay, nuclear bombers 12 miles from Russian border, armed with nuclear weapons. NATO, U.S. nuclear bombers, apparently armed with nuclear weapons, flew within 12 miles of the Russian border. Yeah, that's the news. That's the news. What is Biden doing? Oh, let's go Brandon doing to entice Russia into another war with us, or a war with us? I guess Afghanistan didn't work out, right? So apparently, we flew nuclear bombers 12 miles from the Russian border, armed with nukes. Russia did the same thing over and over again with Bear bombers that were not nuclear armed. So apparently, they have the ability, which I know that for a fact, they have the ability to detect nuclear weapons within their borders. Let me just remind all of you that Russia has the dead hand, a 1980s technology that sniffs for radiation. And if any radiation crosses their border in the form of a nuclear weapon with enough nuclear signal, the dead hand launches every thermonuclear warhead in the Russian arsenal without the approval of their government. You can look it up. It's called the dead hand. They were 12 miles from you guys being obliterated. Everybody obliterated. 12 miles. Oh, wait, our fully nuclear bombed bombers crossed over the Russian border on accident, and the dead hand picked it up, and we're all dead. Or we're in a nuclear winter within 30 minutes, because the Satan II warhead has 15 supersonic glider nuclear warheads that each one could take out a city. And they have thousands. But don't worry, Brandon just flew fully armed nuclear bombers 12 miles from the Russian border. Not just like, hey, we're going to fly by some empty nuke. That's what I seen anyways. Okay, so the CIA director went to Moscow after Putin said, we are going to have to react to this. We are drawing a red line, just like in Ukraine they did. They drew a red line, said, we have superior air power. We have superior nukes now. That's why all that stuff stopped with Ukraine. That's why they all of a sudden they're like, the U.S. pulled back and said, uh-oh, we lost air superiority. That's why Syria turned out that way. This might be labeled fake news. No, they had air superiority in Syria with their new MiGs and with their S-300 missile systems. So we stopped backing the moderate terrorist rebels with the bazillion guns, weapons, and TOW missiles. And they also came up with a new tank. Russia came up with a new tank that the U.S. TOW missiles could not take out. So, just saying. But Vladimir Putin drew a red line. He looked like crap in his interview. Looked really, really tough. Looked like he'd been worn out pretty bad. And he said, I have to draw a red line in the sand. This is it. So the CIA director went to Moscow. Let's see what that idiot has to say. So we've seen this before. But that's the real news. The Kyle Rittenhouse has captivated the nation, while the U.S., the Brandon Army, and the Harris Army has flown within 12 miles of the Russian border with fully nuclear armed bombers. Just to catch you all up on it. But that's not the news. Because today, Biden had a colonoscopy, and Harris was admitted as the first woman president for 80 minutes. But don't worry, the gas prices are going through the roof. You can't afford to hardly live. And the kleptocrats, all the investors and stocks and all that, are making more money than they've ever made because of shortages. But you have to learn to live with less. That was said by a commentator a couple days ago. Americans need to learn to live with less to save the environment. You can't get everything you want anymore in America because you have to save the environment. It's a good thing that there's shortages because Americans have had too much too long, and they need to save the environment. Like I stated before, emptying out major metropolises, moving millions of people into rural America is actually destroying the environment. And then replenishing those 700,000 people that have since gone with millions of immigrants upon millions of immigrants is not saving the environment. It's hurting the environment. But we must always worry and make sure that these shortages that make the profits for them continues so you can save the environment for them, because their environment is huge. They're the upper elites of the world. Their environment has grown from a mini yacht to a supersized yacht. Why they're worried about you eating a supersized meal? Because you could get supersized yourself. But yet they supersized all their profits during a pandemic. They supersized everything that they want. The debt, their everything. It's all about them, but you need to go with less. See, because you little smelly Walmart people don't deserve to have everything. There's too much money flowing into you. They passed that $250 per kid. They gave us $600 plus your unemployment to people that sat on their butts and hid their basements. But it all went back to them. See, that's their major fortune. But don't worry, because in the end, these major corporations like Walmart are going to pay for college for those that work there. Even though they raked in trillions on your tax dollars, of our tax dollars, through a Ponzi scheme money giveaway to build back better America. Follow? See what I'm saying? They're building back America. Build back better. So that means America you do is gone. They made more money than they've ever made, and they increased your debt load to $400 some odd thousand per individual that either crosses the border, lives here, or drops on the ground, is born, all owe $400 some odd thousand. You can look it up on the individual liability debt clock. It's in the very right-hand corner. Your actual unsecured debt liability is over $500,000, or just under $500,000. So Build Back Better, they sure build it back better, all right. Welcome to the future, guys, because this transitory inflation isn't transitory. And this is not about you. They'll do everything they can do to make it more for them as they strangle America while they do it. Thanks for watching, guys. 29 minutes long. Have a great day. And I'll talk to you as soon as possible.